Every time Shane van Gisbergen wins another road course in the States, the American media rolls out the same tired line. He got lucky? He's a road course specialist. Anyone can do what he does. Dead set. They've been saying it since Chicago 2023. Here's the problem with that story. It's completely wrong. And the reason it's wrong is buried in the engineering in a car most of the Yanks have never even sat in. There is a gap between what a Supercars driver learns on the mountain and what a NASCAR driver learns on an oval. Not a talent gap, a grip gap, a physical, mechanical, in-your-bones difference in how you make a race car turn. And once you understand it, you'll never watch SVG the same way again, because the thing they're calling luck, it's the hardest driving school on planet Earth. It's called Mount Panorama. Let's decode it. Start with the diff. This is where it all begins. A Gen 3 V8 supercar runs a spool, not a limited slip differential, a spool. That means the two rear wheels are locked solid together, spinning at the exact same speed all the time. No clever electronics deciding how to split the torque. Nothing. Now think about what that does mid-corner. When you turn, the outside wheel needs to travel further than the inside wheel. A spool won't let it, so the car physically fights you. It wants to push straight on, understeer, scrub the front tires. Supercars has run this setup for decades on purpose because it forces the driver to unlock the corner themselves with the throttle, with the brake, with weight transfer. Here's where it gets interesting. The NASCAR Next Gen car does not run a spool. It runs an X-Track P1334 transaxle, a proper 5-speed sequential with a nitrogen-charged, adjustable preload differential. It's a more forgiving, more sophisticated piece of kit. The car helps you. It manages the wheel speed difference so you don't have to. So follow the logic. SVG spent nearly 20 years driving a car that actively fought him in every corner, and then he steps into a NASCAR that's mechanically easier to rotate. To him, that next-gen car isn't a beast. It's a gift. But the diff is only half the story. Now we get to the feat. A supercar has no ABS, none. When you stand on the brakes at the end of Conrad Strait, 300 kilometers an hour drop into under 100, there is no computer catching a lockup. If you get it wrong, you flat spot a tire or you're in the fence. So the driver becomes the ABS. You modulate the pedal with your foot, feeling the front tires right at the edge of locking, releasing pressure a hair before they let go, over and over every single lap. And you're doing that on the most brutal braking zones in the world, over bumps, over crests, with a wall a meter off your door. That's the other Bathurst secret, the dipper. The car plunges downhill, the suspension compresses hard, the whole platform pitches forward, and you're braking and turning at the same time while the grip is changing under you. There's nowhere on a NASCAR oval that teaches this. Ovals are smooth. Ovals are constant radius. You lean on the wall of grip and hold it. So here's the truth the Yanks won't say out loud. The next-gen NASCAR still doesn't force you to heel and toe. On downshifts, the sequential box lets you bang through gears without even touching the clutch. Most American drivers never learned the old art. But SVG did. He learned it the hard way on a locked diff, no ABS supercar on the deadliest circuit in the sport. When he brings that footwork to a road course, he isn't doing something the car requires. He's doing something the car rewards, and nobody else in the field can match it. That's not luck. That's 20 years of muscle memory the rest of the grid never built. Now stop for a second, because this is the part the American media will never break down for you. They'll show you the win. They'll say specialist. They'll move on. They will never tell you why, because the why lives in Bathurst, in a locked spool diff, in a brake pedal with no safety net. That's our story. That's the technical truth, and it's ours to protect. And that's why we're building the 97 Nation, a crew that fights for the engineering truth, not the lazy headline. If you're one of us, if you're sick of SVG being written off as lucky, then this is your team. Smash subscribe and join the Decoded crew. Drop spool in the comments so I know you actually made it this far and you get it. Let's show the algorithm. The 97 Nation runs deep, right? Because now we need to talk about what's really holding him back. Here's the uncomfortable question. If SVG is this good and the data screams that he is, why isn't he winning ovals too? The answer isn't the driver, it's the equipment. Trackhouse Racing is a Chevrolet team, and they lean on the Chevy technical pipeline, engines and support that trace back through ECR and Hendrick Motorsports. But make no mistake, Trackhouse is not Hendrick. Hendrick is the crown jewel of the Chevy camp. Trackhouse gets support, but they're fighting for scraps of the top-tier development that flows to the factory's favorite sons. And on ovals where the racing is all about tiny aero tweaks, simulation hours, and the freshest setup data, that gap is everything. On a road course, SVG's raw skill papers over the difference. On an oval, there's nowhere to hide. The car is only as fast as the data behind it, and the whisper in the paddock is that SVG is doing Tier 1 driving in a Tier 2 car. Then there's the politics. For 2026, Trackhouse handed young gun Connor Zilisch the famous number 88, the number SVG himself raced. Zilisch is the anointed prospect, the kid everyone's tipping for a Hendrick future. SVG, meanwhile, moved to the number 97, a number that means the world to his family, sure, but read the room. The rising American star gets the golden number and the development spotlight. The proven race winner gets shuffled sideways. You gotta ask, is Trackhouse building the team around Shane, or are they using the best road racer alive to season a rookie while the real factory investment flows to the next generation? Because if the data proves SVG can do this with Tier 2 gear, imagine what he'd do with Tier 1. So there it is, the grip gap, a locked spool diff that taught him to unlock corners by hand. No ABS, so his own foot became the computer, the dipper teaching him to brake and turn where grip vanishes under the car. That's the school that built Shane van Gisbergen, and it's a school no NASCAR oval could ever run. It was never luck. It was Bathurst. But here's the cliffhanger. If the numbers really do prove SVG is being held back by his machinery, how long before the biggest team in the sport comes knocking? There is already talk about where the crown jewel of Chevrolet points its future, and if Shane van Gisbergen ever gets Tier 1 equipment underneath him, the rest of the field is in serious trouble. That's the story the Yanks won't tell you, but we just did. I'm breaking down whether SVG can actually crack the ovals next week. And the one data point that says he already has, hit subscribe so you don't miss it. This is NASCAR Nation Decoded. I'll see you in the next one.